Today we're going to learn about how to take this segment AB and break it into a 5:3 ratio. In order to do that, we're going to have to look at finding a distance that we can place point P along this line away from A to get it to be a 5:3 ratio. How do we do that? Well, since we're being asked to a 5:3 ratio, what we do is we take the 5 and we place it in the numerator, and the denominator is 5 plus 3, so 5/8. We're going to move point P 5/8 the distance going this way and 5/8 the distance going this way. So what's our run? Our run, first of all, and our rise, we need both of those to calculate where to put this point P. So what do? I put little dots, and I move this along, and I notice that my run here from A to B, I move from -6 over to 2. Well, that's a run of 8 spaces. And I want to go 5/8 that distance. So I do times 5/8. 8 and 8, we can cancel. And so we will notice that the answer for the run should be 5. The rise, how far do you rise? This is a movement down and over to the right. So if it's going down, we have to write our answer as negative for the rise. And we go ahead and calculate. Right here it's at 5, and we're dropping down to -3. That's a movement of 8 spaces. And we want to go 5/8 that distance. And so we notice that these will cancel. We get a -1 here. -1 times 5 is -5. Now, in order to decide where to put point P, we're going to take and move away from A, which is at -6,5. We already have that. And we want to figure out the X value and the Y value for P. How do I do that? Well, I start at -6, and I look at the run here, because that determines the X value. And I add that 5. And so this 5, so make sure you're aware of it, goes right there, the run. And I get a -1. So my X value is going to be -1. To calculate what the Y value should be for point P, I take this 5, my Y value, and I take the rise, and I place it in. I shouldn't put a comma there, that's a plus. And that says -5. So 5 plus -5 is 0. So my point P is, this is the X value, -1. This is the Y value, 0. And so it's at -1, 0. So I'm going to go onto my graph, -1, 0, put a little point and call it P, and it breaks it into a 5:3 ratio. Let's take a look at one more problem. In this problem, I'm going to be asked to break this line segment into a 3:2 ratio. What I do to calculate it, I take the 3 from here, place it there, and add these two numbers together, 3 plus 2, so I get 3/5. I want to do 3/5 the rise and 3/5 the run in order to place point P on this line segment. So what do I have to do? First of all, I want to do the run, and I want to do the rise. So I draw my little dotted lines, moving right over and moving down. Oh my goodness, that's a long line. So for my run, I'm moving from A to B. So I'm moving backwards, so it's going to be negative. And this is at, the X value here is 4, and I'm moving to -6. That's a movement of 10 spaces backwards. Now my rise, I'm actually technically falling, so we write a negative. And how far did I drop? Well, A's Y value is at 2, and I dropped all the way to 13. 2 and then 13 more spaces is a drop of 15. And I want to do 3/5 that to actually find out where P should be. So I take 3/5 times both of these. And 5 will go into 5 once, 5 will go into 10 twice. -2 times 3 is a -6. And 5 will go into 5 once, 5 will go into 15 3 times. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. So I want to move negative from point A, which is 4, 2. I want to move negative 6 as far as the run goes. So I put minus the 6. This is the x value. And that answer is negative 2. And for my y value, I grab the y value for A, and I put a 2 down. And I look at the rise, and it's minus 9. So that's negative 7. So my point P is going to be at negative 2, comma, negative 7. Let's take a look. Negative 2, dropping down 7. There's my point P, and this is a 3 to 2 ratio. Well, you guys have a great night. Hopefully you learned how to do this. See you tomorrow.